crafters, welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today we are going to create a fun fold that has a fantastic technique on the top of it. It's called a faux tile card, and you are going to love it. It is so easy and quick to create and yet make such a statement. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get busy. Now let me show you this card that we're going to make. Here we have just a base card. It's really just a mat, and then you have a smaller card on top of it. So let me show you the first thing that you need to do. You need to go ahead and grab your trimmer, and we're going to cut the base card that everything glues on top of. Now, I will tell you, as you start creating cards, if you're new, what I do is I go ahead and I lay out all my colors so that I can decide exactly what I want to use. And look at these great colors. I have black cardstock, gorgeous grape, and then I'm using this beautiful DSP. Isn't that gorgeous? And that comes from All Together. It's a 6x6 package of designer series paper. Love this paper. But the first thing we need to do is go ahead and cut our mat as our base card. And we know that that is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and just score this at 4 1/4 because I'm going to show you a little trick. If you have a full sheet of cardstock and you don't have any scraps around to make this base card, go ahead and score it 4 1/4 and then cut at 5 1/2. Now you can fold this card. You have a card for later. You can go ahead now and cut this at 4 1/4, and you have 2 base cards for the 2 cards that you might want to make. So I'm going to put this one to the side. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut my small card that's going to go on top. So that one, you're going to have to extend your arm if you're using the Stampin' Up. And you're going to cut that at 9 3/4. And 4 1/4. Now, don't put this trimmer up because we have to make some score lines. We're going to turn it long ways, and we're going to score at 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. Now, I want to remind you, all our measurements and our supplies will be listed over on our blog. Just go to creativemomentsbyg.com and click on my blog. So now we have our small card that goes on top. We have our base mat. And now I just cut our first mat that is going on the top of our card. Now you could emboss this back piece if you wanted, but boy, I wanted this beautiful DSP. So let's go ahead and just glue that down. Now I'm going to bring in my silicone mat just in case I get some glue. I don't want it on my work table. I'm bringing in my Barely Art glue. Love, love this glue. Just going to get this glued down. And I like it because it has this precision little tube that comes out of it just for the smallest areas if you want. Just going to make sure we have this evenly distributed all the way around. And I just put that little bit of extra glue right there on my silicone mat, and I know that I can rub it off so I don't have to worry about it. Now make sure that you stay with this because I want to talk about that card that I showed you, but I have one more card to show you as well at the end of this video. So we have our base card put together. Look how pretty that is. Now let's go ahead and fold this. So because I'm right-handed, I like to put my right hand down and fold towards it, and then fold back. And I'm going to bring in my bone folder and just give it a good crease. I'm also going to turn it over and get this creased really well. And now we have our top card. Now, I'm going to do something before we put this on. I want this middle piece embossed. And I am bringing in this beautiful embossing folder, stripes and splatters, and I am going to do these stripes. So I'm just going to fit this right in here, and I'm going to run this through our embossing folder, making sure that I have it on the top exactly where I want it, because we know that on Stampin' Up, the top of it is this little black logo right there. Okay, I ran it through, and let's just take that out and look at that beautiful embossed area. Now remember, it folds like this so that when you open it up, we have an embossed area. You could also decorate that in DSP. Now the next thing that we need to do is decorate our mats that we have cut. And the mat that goes on top of this is 3 by 4. Now, this is where the faux tile comes in. You can do it one of two ways. You could bring in your trimmer and you could score it, no problem. But you could also bring in your scoring buddy or whatever it is you have, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put it right in the corner. Now, something else I've done is, here is the stylus that comes with it, and here's the large end. I am going to use another stylus that I have that just is slightly bigger so that it can give us bigger canals to create those tiles. And I am going to do it every inch. So another tip is really pay attention when you get your first canal, your first area scored, because if not, it could very easily jump over to another line, and you don't want that. So I'm going to put this, making sure that it's right up against this edge, and I'm going to very carefully create that first line. And once you've done that, then you really don't have to worry about it. You can just go in. And so long as you have a pretty big rounded area, you don't have to worry about cutting your cardstock. Now I'm going to go find 2, and I'm just going to drag it down. And I'm going to just kind of go over it a couple times just to give it a really good crease. Now you can see those areas, right? Now we're going to turn it long ways, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to score at 1-inch intervals. So just go ahead, paying attention so it doesn't accidentally hop over to another line. I'm going to find the 2-inch mark, and I'm going to find the 3-inch mark. Just give it a good crease. Now look at that. Look at those score lines. You can really see those score lines. So I'm just going to move this to the side. Now I'm going to bring in just a piece of paper because I'll be stamping off this area. I have a very large background stamp that I want to use. I'm going to bring in some used paper. I'm going to put this down and look at this beautiful background stamp. This is called Berry Harvest, and it is beautiful. Sometimes you wonder, what do I do with these big background stamps? This is what you can do with it. Now, I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy. I'm just going to go over it really well, making sure that it's inked up, really just in the areas that I need. I'm going to flip it over, and you don't want to press very hard. You want to just hold it so the ink can transfer, because you don't want to push it so hard that all the ink transfers into your canal. So just hold it for a moment, and now the big reveal. Look at those canals. Do you see that? It looks like faux tile. Love this. Now, we're also going to do another technique just to really emphasize those canals once again and to make it look even more like tile, because it does get kind of busy. We are going to bring in 2 circle punches. We have a 2.5 and we have a 2 1/4. Now, I have punched out a black circle, and that's with the larger punch, the 2 1/2. We're going to do a little spotlighting. That is always fun. And then we are going to put this in here and we're going to punch it out and then use our blends to color it. So I'm just sliding this in. I'm going to center it and I'm just going to punch it. Now we're going to keep this piece, very important, and we are just going to use our blends. Now on our blends, we are bringing in Parakeet Party, the light. We're bringing in Old Olive, the dark. And then for our purple, we're bringing in Light Freesia. So let's just go ahead now. What you need to do is make sure that you do not color inside these canals because that's our technique. It's a faux tile. So make sure that you stay off those areas of the canal. We're just going to get all of our grapes colored. And now we're going to define those lines, the veins within our leaves. We're just going to use the pencil nib and we're just going over those veins. Make sure that you stay out of the canals. We're going to bring in the lighter one and I'm going to go ahead and use the brush nib on this one because it goes just a little faster. And now we still have our tiled areas. Now let's just talk about what else you can do. If you don't want to use a large background like this, make sure that you stay with us because I'm going to go over 2 cards that use something completely different and you'll be able to see some more stamp sets that you can use that really create this faux tile. So let's go ahead and add this to the front of our black circle and I'm going to use dimensionals for that. I just took off the back of those dimensionals and now I'm going to put some more and I'm going to set it up on the black circle just to give it some additional height. And I took all the backs off again and now this is the key part. You want to make sure that you line this up and I can see this is the way it goes. So I'm going to just turn this upside down. I'm going to bring in this and just go ahead and glue it down just like this because I've already matched it up to our circle so I know which part is the top and which part is the bottom. That's very important. If you have a directional stamp, you want to make sure that it's turned the right way. Now we'll just go ahead and add this to the front of our card. Okay, let's get this lined up again. We're lining up those canals right here. Now we need to go ahead and get this decorated. I'm going to just put a few little grapes there. I think I'll turn it this way. I also have punched out my sentiment. While I let that dry, I want to go ahead and add my sentiment to the front. Now, I didn't want to cover up a lot of the faux tile, so I just made a very small birthday wishes, and I'm going to set that up on some mini dimensionals. Okay, and this is dry, so I'm just going to bring in my greens, and we're going to do the leaves first. I'm going to bring in my freesia and just color our grapes. Let's add this to the inside of our card. And look at this card. Oh my goodness, I love this DSP right here. I love the spotlighting and I love the faux tile. Can you see that? Look at that. Even though there's a lot going on right here, you can really see the canals and the faux tile. Now, remember I said I was going to show you this one. This is a stamp. It's a one-step process, but you can see the canals still going through it. You open it up. We went ahead and we embossed this area just to give it some added interest. Now look at this one. You know I love Night of Navy and Lime Green. I absolutely love this. And now look at this. This was a two-stamp process, so I had to be very careful when I stamped the second one so as not to really get into the canal. So you need to be light-handed when you use this technique of creating a faux tile card. But look at that. It is definitely worth it. Look at that. Well, take a moment and leave a comment. Which is your favorite card? Do you like this berry harvest or this one stamp process or the one that has a two stamp process? I just love this fun fold and this faux tile technique. Well, we appreciate you spending your time with us. If you were inspired just a little bit, if you take a moment and give us a like below this video and share with your friend, we sure would appreciate it. Well, listen, go out, make it a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.